All right, we're going to review pH balance, and we're going to start by looking at pH blood. So there are three systems here in play. In order, we have chemical buffers, the respiratory buffer, finally the renal buffer. So this is an order, and this is also an order from sort of weakness. The renal buffer is the slowest, but it has the most capacity to change the pH of your blood. It's the most powerful of the only one that's actually losing that hydrogen proton changes the pH of your blood. But we'll get to that. Let's start with the chemical buffer. Your blood itself is a buffer. Remember that most carbon dioxide in the blood is carried as bicarbonate. This is because carbon dioxide and water form carbonic acid, which dissociates into the hydrogen proton and bicarbonate. And then we have that bicarbonate carried in the plasma. So that in itself is a buffer. Now, it's the weakest of the three buffers, but it's also the fastest. This is moment-to-moment pH balance. Should something happen and the pH of your blood shifts, the next system that's going to kick in is the respiratory system. And the respiratory system is back to the same idea of carbon dioxide. Because this carbon dioxide can be exhaled. I've mentioned this before, but carbon dioxide, for our purposes, we're associating this with acid. Because the more carbon dioxide we add here, the more reaction we get here. And there's the hydrogen proton. So for the respiratory system, if we increase carbon dioxide, decreasing pH. That, and then the same is true for the opposite. If we decrease carbon dioxide, we increase pH, we make it more alkaline. So changing your respiratory rate can change the pH of your blood. Breathe slower, that's and you get this. Carbon dioxide levels come up. You're not exhaling it. Breathe faster, hyperventilation, carbon dioxide levels go down. You get rid of too much carbon dioxide, the pH of your blood will become more alkaline. Now, the last of our three buffers here is the renal buffer. And like I said earlier, the renal buffer is the most potent because the renal buffer can actually excrete that hydrogen proton. Not only that, the kidneys will generate bicarbonate. We're always correcting for the acidic situation. Because of the way our metabolism works, we're always generating that hydrogen proton. We're making carbon dioxide, we're generating the hydrogen proton. The chemical buffer in the blood, that bicarbonate, the respiratory system, all that's doing is buffering hydrogen proton. The kidneys are actually going to get rid of it. Even when the blood becomes more alkaline, the kidneys are still getting rid of more of the hydrogen proton or generating more bicarbonate than they are losing bicarbonate or gaining that hydrogen. The kidneys are always trying to correct for that big issue. So now, one of the things that we talked about before we left, hurry, whole idea of arterial blood gas. And this is really what I would like to review. So we've worked through several of these problems. We're concerned with the pH, the bicarbonate, carbon dioxide. So pH of your blood between 7.35 and 0.45. Carbonate. To milliliter. Carbon dioxide, 35, 45. All right. So with that, let's work through some of these practice problems. Carbon dioxide. All right. We'll start with the P. Partial pressure of carbon dioxide. We'll say 60 milliliters. Carbonate. We'll make 20. All right. So as always, your first question here is this acidosis or alkaline? So the pH is under 7.35. Under 7.35, that makes it acidosis. Your next question is it respiratory acidosis or metabolic acidosis? All right, so carbon dioxide's high. It's higher than 45. So that's it. Bicarbonate, also high. That's alkaline. Now, pH tells you that it's acidosis. The respiratory condition here is acidic. That makes this respiratory acid. This number is alkaline. That is compensation. Bicarbonate levels are coming up to buffer the acidic condition in the blood that's being caused by the retention of carbon dioxide. Too much carbon dioxide That's hypoventilation. This person is not exhaling enough carbon dioxide. And it's a situation that's been going on long enough that the kidneys are now trying to compensate for it. All right, so this is just a brief review here. As soon as I figure out how to do it, we will work through those practice problems, that worksheet that is on your blackboard. So updates, I guess. Obviously, I've muted this whole thing. The whiteboard on the computer. I actually went and bought a computer yesterday to do this with because none of my computers are pads. I have equipment, and so we'll actually start with legitimate lecture videos, starting with digestive stuff. We got camera equipment and such. So we'll start that. But I did want to review this whole idea of acid-base balance. We need to go ahead and get finished stuff for respiratory renal acid base. So, brief review, and that will be probably a little later today. We'll go back over and I'll review respiratory renal acid base stuff, hopefully with a little bit more skill than this. Use the whole computer whiteboard thing. You'll notice that my handwriting is significantly worse than normal. I'll figure it out. Also, if you hear children or barking dogs or whatever, we're all at home, so good times. Hopefully, you're all doing okay, and we will find the time to set up office hours a little later this week as well. If you have questions, we can set up a Zoom meeting. That seems to be the thing to do right now. Right, in the meantime, if you have any questions, drop me an email. Also, in the meantime, make sure that you work through those arterial blood gas problems. Blackboard. I know that you guys are worried about your grades and the logistics of exams. Point forward, exams will be given. They are going to be significantly different than your normal lecture exam in class. So here's the thing. I have absolutely no way of proctoring your exam. I can't expect you to install software, proctoring software. None of us has the time or energy to go through that. I realize that you've got your hands full right now. We all have our hands full right now. I keep seeing these people online about how bored they are right now. How on earth is anyone just sitting around being bored? This is creating much, much more work. So, exams on Blackboard, this includes your lab exams. Lab exams will be diagrams to label. The diagrams, I'm going to figure out how to make it matching so the label's in the right spot. The labs here are ridiculously easy right now. I mean, we're left with respiratory anatomy, which incidentally, there's a Blackboard video up for respiratory anatomy. I was able to do that with the anatomage table before we had to go. I'll see what I can do for kidney anatomy, but there's not a whole lot of anatomical structure left that we can legitimately cover here. not super worried about that. We'll be looking mostly at big picture. But lecture stuff, similar situation. Especially here in AMP2, I know that some of you have already started nursing school, and you're going to be moving through more quickly than you expected. So we're going to try to make sure that you what you need here as we get through the remainder of the semester. Right. So I'll stop here. Incidentally, I'll try to keep lecture videos short so that you're not sitting in front of the screen for hours at a time. By no means am I going to be able to sit here and do a 2.5 lecture. There's 6 freaking kids running around right now. I know you can't hear it, which is disturbing to me, and actually why I'm stopping, because I don't know where they went, or what they're doing, or what they're breaking. So I've got to go check on that. I will talk to you guys a little later, and we'll review what you need for respiratory, renal, acid-base phys for an exam.